Real good.
Hey, I'm Geek.
Hey, I'm Geek. I'm not so geek. And
It's Geekout Freakout.
It's Geekout Freakout. Hey everybody, this is Jeff here. I wanted to give you a quick heads up. This week's podcast I will be splitting into two parts because we talked for a really long time. There was a lot of news to go over, and then we talked about our topic books for like another 2 hours. So the whole thing combined was almost 3 hours long, so I figured it would be best to kind of split it up into the two different sections. So you are currently about to listen to us going over all the news last week in Geek, as we always do. Stick around. In another day or two, I'll be posting part 2, where we discuss all of our favorite books. Now, back to the podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Geekout Freakout. As always, I am Jeff, joined by my beautiful wife, Christina. Say hello to everyone, Christina.
No.
Alrighty, then. And my best bro in the world, Spencer. Spencer, why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry for how
All right,
incredibly...
shut the fuck up. I didn't tell you to talk that much.
That's true. I'm so sorry, sir.
We have to move it along, because we have a lot of news this week, guys.
Oh,
But
just
first
so
off,
much news.
our topic this week, the nerdiest thing of all, books.
Nerd.
Fucking nerd city. When I was young and growing up in Newcastle, Indiana, where the average expected reading level of like a 12th grader was Gary Paulson, was a challenging author.
Yes.
Yee.
A lot of complex themes in Hatchet.
Jesus Christ.
How many times have you read that book? Because that's too many times.
I've never read it, but yeah. But I remember being made fun of more for reading books all the time than like playing video games and shit like that.
Yeah, looking back on that feels so strange.
One time I got punished for reading a book.
I did too. When I was in like
I wouldn't stop reading it.
like second grade, we were supposed to be studying for our spelling
I
test.
was like 16.
And I had my spelling book like up in front of me with a smaller. It was a Star Wars book. It was Tales from Jabba's Palace, which is like a novel. And I was in second grade behind the book. So I was reading that, and the teacher saw that, and she was like, close that book right now. You're supposed to be studying for your spelling test. And I was like, I already know all the words for the spelling test. And so she made me take my spelling test that was due like on that Friday on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. And I got 100% on the spelling test. And then I was allowed to continue reading my Star Wars book. But like, yeah, I got made fun of for that shit. Anyways. So we're going to go over our top 5 favorite books.
I'm surprised she didn't like just continue, because if I don't know, in my history with teachers, if they tried to call you out on something like that and then you still passed it, they'd like punish
Get super
you
mad.
further.
No, they hated me. They always hated me because I was very cocky and arrogant about stuff. It wasn't like
You
Still
know,
are.
yeah, well,
never.
it wasn't like, well, I already know the spelling words. Like, shh, I know your damn words.
How many words do you? Maybe I should give you a spelling test.
Spell Wookiee. It's 2 O's. Fucking idiot. Anyways,
No, it's 2 E's is what gets me.
So we're gonna go over our top 5 favorite books and discuss them at length. Christina, what are your top 5 favorite books of all time?
The Great Gatsby, Still Alice, Maximum Ride, the whole series. I'm just putting that into one slot though.
Okay,
Slaughterhouse 5 and To Kill a Mockingbird.
those are some pretty good choices, except for Maximum Ride. I can't wait to make fun of you for a book that
fuck
I've never
yourself.
actually read. What are your top 5 favorite books, Spencer?
In no particular order: Choke by Chuck Palahniuk, House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, Lisey's Story by Stephen King, and I guess it's a tie between so many, but I really did enjoy Ready Player One
Okay.
quite a bit. That book is pure fun.
Yeah. Mine is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, House of Leaves as well by Mark Z. Danielewski, and From the Dust Returned also by Bradbury, Slaughterhouse 5, and Star Wars Traitor by Matthew Stover.
You see, I thought about putting the Young Jedi Knight collection as one book onto the list, but I don't know if it's just because that opened me up, or if it was really that good of a collection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think of the topic of like, I didn't think of it as like what I think are the 5 best books ever written.
I guess you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I could have easily just had like 5 Star Wars books in there because that was my entire childhood was reading Star Wars books. But I figured I would include my
Other
favorite
books.
one. And I don't even know if that's my favorite one. It's one of the more recent ones that I've read, but when we get into discussing it, there's a lot of stuff I like about that book. I can't wait to make fun of you for Stephen King. That's going to be a lot of fun.
No, this book.
We can finally have a
you would
Stephen
even
King
enjoy
conversation.
This book.
No, I
you
wouldn't.
would even enjoy
No, I
this
wouldn't.
book.
No, not at all. It's not Dolores Claiborne in Misery, so I would hate it.
God, you're such a rat fuck. You realize that you like those books because you read them against your better judgment, right? Like you realize that giving those books a chance actually allowed you to enjoy them.
I didn't hate when I read those
You
books.
can't
I
tell
didn't
him
hate
anything.
Stephen King. I was a little kid. My aunt, I was like in maybe 3rd grade, and my aunt was like, "Here's Dolores Claiborne. Read this book because I know how much you love novels." And I read all through it, and then my mom got really mad at my aunt. She was like, "He cannot be reading Dolores fucking Claiborne right now. Like, he is too young for that." And she was like, "Whatever, who cares?" But Ready Player One, we can segue with that one right into the news. I've never read it. I want to, but now that the movie's coming out, I'm kind of waiting to watch the movie and then read the book.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of how I usually do things. But did you see the first like official still from the movie was released this week?
I did, and normally when I see that kind of concept art, or excuse me, not concept art, but like screenshots, previews of shots of movies that are book adaptations that I've read, I'll go through and it's like, okay, how is this different to me? What can I pick apart and like be upset with as a book reader?
Right.
It looks pretty much exactly like the image I had in my mind, to where I'm pretty sure I can like think of in my mind a point early on in the book that we're actually seeing right there.
Okay.
I'm super excited for it. I'm glad Spielberg got a hold of it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's done a super great movie in a minute that I can think of, at least. But obviously he's one of the most talented directors of all time. And like I said, I've never read the book. I don't know a whole lot about it. But just some of the concept art that I had seen for the movie. And this seems to, like, the screenshot that they released seems to match up with that concept art. Of it looks like everybody, or at least the main character, lives in like high rises that are not like buildings, but are just stacks of like fucking mobile homes and trailers on top of each other.
Yeah, and like tin roof shacks in between.
So that's like a part of the is that like due to overpopulation? Is that?
Yes, and the idea that you saw him with that like virtual reality headset on.
Yeah.
That's where the kids in this universe go to school. That's where a lot of people.
That's where like pretty much
work. That's pretty much where everything
right?
occurs, is in this virtual world, and the real world has essentially been ruined in most places.
And is that a result of like addiction, or
it's not like
is the virtual reality an
escape thing? It's an escape.
Okay.
It kind of, I don't know. It reminds me of if the Facebook takeover of Oculus occurred, like with 100 years condensed down into a decade. Like if we were to see like what a company with all of the money in the world were to do with a virtual reality world that's their own,
right?
It's kind of like that. So the industry takes place, commercialization takes place all inside this virtual reality. And it's not the result of a war or anything like that. It's just essentially people preferred it to the reality.
I gotcha.
And so everything that you would do in real life, quote unquote, transferred into this virtual world that's even better. But I'm excited to see the movie. I hope it doesn't turn, because the parts of the book can feel a little bit like you remember all this cool shit from when you were a kid, the book.
Okay, so it gets a little bit like kind of pandering.
Not so much. I'd say that if the way that it was written, I imagine it can be kind of hard to translate the sense of wonder and suspension of disbelief that they achieved in the book to the movie.
Okay, I gotcha.
Also, there are a lot of direct references to incredibly licensed stuff, like 80s movies.
I know there's a lot of references to Stephen King movies, right? Or not Stephen King, Steven Spielberg movies.
Yes.
And Steven Spielberg has said that was weird, and he's taking most of those references out.
Oh, really?
Since he is directing the movie. Yeah. I guess he didn't want, which I don't know how important those references are to the plot, but that makes sense. Like if I was, a famous director or whatever, and I was directing a script that included a bunch of references to my previous work, it'd be like, I don't want to seem like I'm like jerking myself off over here.
Exactly.
Like let's
yeah.
maybe let's
that
make
makes sense.
references to like Stanley Kubrick instead,
Yeah.
like other famous directors.
Yeah. I mean, without giving too much away as to the details of the plot, a lot of that licensed stuff is incredibly important to the plot.
Okay.
Incredibly important.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm excited about it. It seems like it would be right up my alley. That's been a book that's been recommended to me for a long time that I've been putting off reading. So,
Did you ever
Same
see the
here.
movie Fanboys?
yeah.
That's him. That's the author. That was a previous book that he had written, or a screenplay that he had written. that
Oh,
got picked
okay,
up.
okay. I was gonna say, I
forget
didn't know
which one.
Fanboys was a book, but
But I remember reading that on the back of the paperback of Ready Player One when I was finished up with it. Because
Okay.
I had seen Fanboys recently. I was like, oh, he wrote that.
that's the Star Wars. The guys go and see Star Wars episode.
The guys
1, right?
go, yeah,
Okay.
their friend is dying and they're trying to see Star Wars
Yeah, yeah,
Episode 1.
It's
It's a cute movie.
full back tat, Jar Jar Binks. This guy's gonna be huge.
The final line of that movie made the whole movie for me.
What if it sucks?
Guys,
and then
what
the
if it
credits. Yeah.
sucks.
That is a really good movie. That's cool though. So other news this week, we have begun filming on New Mutants, Fox's no supervillains, no costumes take on the X-Men team New Mutants, which is supposed to be a straight up horror movie. I'm kind of excited about it. When I first read that quote, I was like, I don't know about that. I want the villains and the costumes, but the more that I thought about it, and the more that I thought about Logan specifically, like,
You think there's room for that?
I
You think it has
think,
its place?
yeah, I mean, I think it's better for them to try new things than it is for them to be like, yeah, we have supervillains and costumes, which all the other ones have had, only to find out, well, yeah, but you don't really have the supervillains that
In
I
the
know
costumes.
in the costumes that I'm familiar with. You have people named after supervillains, and they're certainly wearing costumes, but they're just motorcycle jackets in different colors. Like so I think it might be pretty cool.
Yeah, especially after Logan, I'm going to hold out my preemptive poking fun at it until I actually have more information.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it certainly more than I am like Dark Phoenix. I think Dark Phoenix is going to be more of the same, but this at least has a shot at being something different. What do you think about a straight up horror movie X-Men series or movie?
I mean, I'll watch it,
Yeah.
but I don't have any opinion on it.
I'm excited that
whatsoever.
we're starting to see people like making these movies have specific genre aspirations that they don't.
Yeah.
That's a thing that works for some of the like the Marvel Studios films, you know what I mean? Like I think some of the strongest ones have been intentionally genre films, like Spider-Man Homecoming being specifically a John Hughes film, and Winter Soldier being specifically like a covert ops espionage kind of film.
And I know you pan Ant-Man a little bit, but that was a heist movie.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike Ant-Man. It was really funny. I love Paul Rudd. It just felt like I don't know. It just felt off. I can't even put my finger on it, but like
I can see that.
it just didn't feel like any of the other Marvel movies. If that
I don't
makes sense.
think it was supposed to, though.
No, it definitely wasn't, and it had some amazing set pieces, like the action sequences taking place in Tiny Little World were fucking fantastic.
I thought it was cute.
Yeah, I came out of it just impressed that they made it as good as it was.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Ant-Man movie.
That's
Like,
true. That's true. We also filming has wrapped up on Rampage. Christina, what do you know about Rampage?
Nothing.
What do you know about the video game Rampage?
Not really anything.
The arcade game where you play as like one of the 3 giant monsters climbing up and down the sides of the building, smashing them up.
Yeah, we played that.
Yeah. Did you know that they're making a movie?
No.
Well, they are, and it's done filming, and it stars The Rock.
What do you know about this?
It would.
And then you explain that it's that game where you destroy a building as those 3 monsters. That's as much as anyone knows about Rampage.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the whole
as
plot.
much as there is to know about Rampage.
Well, I mean,
Occasionally,
okay.
new monsters come into the roster.
I think it's gonna be like a spoofy Godzilla kind of movie. You
Okay,
know?
Yeah, I mean, it could be good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Hopefully it's funny.
When I saw that it was happening, my thought was like, this has a better shot than most as far as video game movies going, because it is, if it can be self-aware enough and funny enough, because it is like a dumb plotless video game,
Yeah.
but a real fun video game nonetheless.
I wouldn't say it's that fun.
You don't think playing Rampage is a fun game?
I mean, it's okay. I didn't have a whole lot of fun
I don't
playing
think
it.
it's aged well. I think we have fun because we played it as kids.
That's fair, I guess. I don't know. I think you're just wrong.
Well, I think you're just old.
I am just old. That is also true.
So old.
Now, Justice League, the actor who plays the main villain, Steppenwolf, which is still just the dumbest.
It is mind blowing.
The dumbest fucking name. He said that he did not film any scenes at all with any of the other cast members. So the main villain in the movie never once actually met any of the Justice League or acted with them.
Well, I thought that they like had thought about their movies and were going to try and make them better. It sounds like maybe not.
It sounds like, I think the reason, I think some
No, I
people
don't
are
care.
interpreting it as like Steppenwolf doesn't have any scenes with the Justice League, but I feel like it's more like he was doing CGI stuff. He filmed all his stuff separately. But even still, a lot of times when they do CGI stuff, they'll still have other actors present. You know, I think that's a big problem with
It's
CG.
gonna be weird.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like,
It is always, almost always weird. Like, I think the only person who can pull that off is like Andy Serkis, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and that's because he has done it so often and trained specifically to do that kind of acting. Like, this is not a CGI guy. This is just a regular actor that, you know, they put ping pong balls on. And we're like, now pretend you're looking at Batman and Aquaman and the Flash and Wonder Woman and Cyborg and Superman, and you're talking to them all. And I'm sure it's going to feel very disconnected and strange. And it is a little disappointing. You're right. I expected better, especially after Whedon stepped in to take control over things, you know?
yeah.
But here we are. Maybe just another shitty DC movie. I don't know.
Probably will be.
I don't know, man. They seem to have put a lot of chips in Jason Momoa's corner, and
That's true.
and I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
I might be slightly biased as a Game of Thrones fan.
You know, one thing that I noticed, I don't think it was this week. I think it was actually last week. I didn't really think it was worth talking about, but the Aquaman movie's filming as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, the majority of scenes that have come out, like where people have like filmed, you know, because like they're filming a scene like across the street from where they live, so sometimes videos and stuff like that will leak, is not of Aquaman, but of Aquaman's wife, Mira, who is also like a super powered Atlantean, attacking people with making like she's on like a dock and there's people giving her a hard time, and she like raises her hands up and a big wave comes out of the ocean and fucking crashes down on the dock and knocks everyone away. So I feel like they're, after the success of Wonder Woman, they're trying to maybe put a lot of their female characters in like more action sequences and stuff.
And that has the added bonus of doing what I always want to see, which is just everybody in here. Get get so many superpowered characters. Introduce audiences to new people. Introduce me to new people. I didn't know Aquaman's wife until you just mentioned that.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, nobody knows about Mira. I
and
guess,
that's awesome.
Like a casual.
And that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, she's just as powerful. She doesn't have the, the Trident of Poseidon gives Aquaman a lot of additional powers that she does not have. I don't think she can talk to fish, but she can still control like water, and all Atlanteans are like incredibly durable and strong, and she's a fucking badass, and they're cool like warriors together. Like, if you know anything about Atlantis, like they're all warriors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that is pretty badass, and I'm excited to see some more of Mira. Now, we also have Wonder Woman 2, some news for the sequel. Supposedly, it will be set in the 1980s during the Cold War, where we'll see Wonder Woman tussling against the Soviet Union. And apparently, Steve Trevor is going to return.
It's got to be flashbacks,
Was
right?
that just an at Chris Pine? What would you? That's
no,
what I was
it was
thinking.
because like, how the fuck are they
Okay.
gonna do that?
Maybe she misses Steve Trevor in the 80s, and at 3 different points throughout the movie, she has a flashback to something that assists her with a plot device in the 80s against the Soviets. She's thinking nostalgically. We might get a few 10-minute sequences of things that maybe fill in context for us. I literally,
I think maybe that would be okay.
I can't believe for a moment that they would go with he's been frozen. Like, that's the only thing that I can think of to where it would be actually Steve Trevor with Chris Pine playing him.
So, I don't think a flashback would work because what are we gonna flashback to? I feel like in the first Wonder Woman movie, we saw pretty much everything that has ever happened between Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor. You know what I mean? Remember that talk we had in between that one talk we had and that other talk we had that you guys saw in the movie. There was one you didn't see, and it's a super important talk. I don't know why we didn't see it first time around.
Well, here's
like
the thing.
that makes me think of
they could do that and it wouldn't be so bad.
I think that it would be bad, but I don't think casting Steve Trevor in this leads to anything that's not at least a little bit contrived.
Like, but it's comic
I
books,
agree.
right?
Huh?
But it's comic books, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, why can't, like...
He fell out of the plane in the Arctic.
Traveled through time. I mean, like, she's a goddess. Like, there's other gods.
Is that how the invisible jet comes into play? We didn't see it, but there was a jet that came and saved him.
That may be it. We may have just figured it out, actually.
I think I'll be okay with that.
Thanks, Patty, for giving us that little...
You think you'll be okay with the invisible jet coming into play?
I mean, not really, but I guess.
No,
you're right. For as much as I talk about wanting them to embrace the just fantastical parts of comics, I guess I am being a little...
That's all I'm saying. I mean,
hard
you fucking whatever dumb contrived reason they have to bring him back. I thought he was really good in the
God
first
we
movie.
invented the blah, blah, blah.
And I'd rather have him back than them just like... They do this movie in the 80s, and there's another guy that she falls in love with who also dies, and then they have a movie set, another 30 years later in like a modern day, and now she's in love with Superman or Bruce Wayne or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, rather it be Steve Trevor, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited. Like, if we're going to see it, I'm excited to see Chris Pine's Steve Trevor. I thought he was great.
But more importantly, what do you think about Wonder Woman going against the Soviet Union, dude? Sticking it to those Ruskies. You know what I'm saying? Those fucking pinko commies.
Just watching her fuck up 100,000 Cossacks over 2.5 hours. Yeah, I'm into it.
Do you think she'll just shout anti-communist rhetoric the entire time?
I don't know.
I don't know about the entire...
I mean...
I don't know, man. Like, really, I'm like, okay. This is actually really cool. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but I'm excited.
I'm excited to see what they do with it, definitely.
And do you also think...
Okay, so that's at the point where, in history, where anyone who's watching will at least heard the names of any of the higher-ups in the Soviet Union that Wonder Woman would be going up against. Like, do you think we're going to see someone who is, like, straight up playing Joseph Stalin? Like... Or...
I think we're more likely to see
or fucking Gorbachev or
like super powered KGB members or something. There is literally a villain called KG Beast who was in
KG Beast?
Yeah, KG Beast. Isn't that kind of cool? It's like it's one of the comic book names that you're like, that's so dumb, I like it. Like, yeah. He's exactly what you think. He's like a bad guy, super soldier project kind of dude. Super strong, working for the KGB, KG Beast.
It's a naming convention that I believe happened completely organically.
I think that what's likely to happen is because when the first Wonder Woman movie came out, there were some people on like Fox News talking about how it wasn't American enough, about how this Greek goddess fighting in World War II or in World War I, wasn't American enough. Do you remember that?
Yes, of course.
Because the costume wasn't red, white, and blue enough for them.
Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman is a strictly American superhero.
Yeah, I mean, she's from America. No, she's from America. She's American.
Do you think that if these rumors are true and she's going against the communists, that they're just gonna, when it comes out and it's really successful and everybody's like, man, it's another great female superhero movie, that Fox News is gonna have more articles and they're gonna be like, clearly it's just attacking Russia, to support the fucking liberal agenda against Russia right now.
That's what I was going to say, man. That's
totally
exactly...
tone deaf to like the actual Cold War that happened.
Yes, absolutely.
Can't wait for
What
those
did
debates.
Russia ever do to America? Why the sudden hatred of Russia?
Now, also in Batman news, the director of the Batman solo movie, Matt Reeves, has been talking the past 2 weeks a lot about it. He has thrown out Ben Affleck's script. Do you think that's for the best? Do you think Ben Affleck had a good script?
No.
I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
I did.
From
the things that Ben Affleck has written, I would want to see his take on a Batman movie. I think it would be closer, like, I don't know. I've always been fascinated with Bruce Wayne. And I feel like it would take that he would want, especially being the actor who's playing him, he would want to take a step back and really look at the various like complexities of that person's psyche.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
He, as an actor, I feel like a lot of people throw him into the same lot. I know I do. I think I have done this before, even on the podcast, as Matt Damon in that other one. I know he's always paired up with Matt Damon, but he also reminds me of Brad Pitt a lot, where it's just like, just pretty boy Hollywood actors. Like, because there was a time where those three were like the go-to pretty boy Hollywood actors, right?
But there was also a time where Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote a little movie called Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, and there's also a time when Ben Affleck was in several Kevin Smith movies and is real life best buds with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Like, and talks about, in movies like Mallrats and stuff, talks about comics and stuff like that. Like, I think he is, as a real person, into a lot of like nerd culture stuff.
Yeah, man. Affleck was a bomb in Phantoms.
And I don't know. I agree with you. I think maybe he did have something cool. It was also all Ben Affleck for that screen test of Deathstroke that came out last year.
Oh yeah.
So presumably that's out the window as being the villain in the Batman movie.
Okay.
But in the same tone, I guess, I don't know. I also like what Matt Reeves has been saying. In some interviews, he's talked about how he thinks that The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie so far, which...
Sure.
Yeah, it's the best Joker movie so far.
Yeah, it's the best Batman movie by far, but
maybe it is that's also
by association. It's not because the Batman movie was so good.
Right.
But he also said that he wants to make it like a noir kind of style movie and really focus on Batman's detective skills as the world's greatest detective.
I'm all about that. I don't think we've seen that yet.
No, absolutely not. People always quote The Dark Knight as being the best one because of this the
5 seconds where he's a detective.
No, him doing the bullet in the wall thing. You remember that sequence?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say is doing detect. Is that really detecting, or is that like doing made up fucking fake science?
Yeah, made up forensics.
Yeah, like that's not it's totally unrealistic and could never work. Do you remember that sequence? The bullet in the wall? He as a fan of science, you'll appreciate the absurdity of this if you don't remember it.
No, I don't remember it.
He pulls a slug out of a wall that was shot by the Joker, presumably.
Okay, with his hands?
Do what?
With his hands?
Well, the bullet was fired with a gun. Right.
Well, no shit.
He drills it out of the wall. I thought you meant shot with the Joker with his hands. I was like, I don't know what you mean by that.
Out of the... Jesus, whatever. Just keep explaining.
He drills it out of the wall, which is what real forensic people do.
Right.
They pull slugs out of the wall and they can read partial serial numbers to track the bullet to the gun that fired it, right?
Right, yes.
What he does is assumes the Joker at one point put that bullet into the clip and left a fingerprint on it. What? So he's going to read a fingerprint off of a shattered bullet fragment in a wall. So what he does is drills it out of the wall, does like a 3D scan of it to get all these tiny partial fingerprints, and then gets a whole bunch of that same bullet and fires it at a whole bunch of different concrete walls, and then scans how they like shatter when they hit the walls in order to come up with the most accurate way to like rebuild the original shattered bullet to get a full fingerprint read.
Literally none of that makes any sense.
Right. And also in the movie,
I'm gonna say
I may be way
here.
off, but that doesn't help them at all, does it? I cannot remember how that is beneficial to him in any way.
No, I don't.
I mean, I couldn't even remember the scene.
It's been a minute since I've seen the movie, and I guess there's a reason he did it, But in my mind, it goes from that scene to the Joker shooting everybody at that parade. Then it's like I'm back to chasing the Joker again. I don't
understand.
It's not like he like finds out the Joker's real identity and is able to stop the Joker because of that. No. But yeah, that's not really like detective work, and that's using more of his gadgets, which we've seen plenty of in the movies, and I'm sick and tired of seeing his fucking bat gadgets.
The Schumacher films were all about the gadgets. That's all that it was. We had a gadget for everything.
So yeah,
I want to decide if I like bat ice skates or bat heating belt buckle more.
I like the bat credit card. That's my favorite bat gadget, dude. But
I always forget about the bat credit card.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Fuck. The 90s were awesome.
Were they? I don't know about that. But no, yeah, I'm definitely for like doing some actual detective work. Like let's have him fucking maybe not beating people within an inch of their life and giving them permanent brain damage and paralyzation, but having him just like following some people and listening to things and gaining information that he puts together to uncover a larger plot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As not too dissimilar from what a detective might do.
Right.
We also DC's next animated movie is going to be a Batman one, and it is Gotham by Gaslight, which is based. Gotham by Gaslight's a comic. It was one of the first Elseworlds comics in the 80s, and it is a steampunk Victorian Batman going up against Jack the Ripper, who is loose in Gotham City. Does that sound cool as fuck to everybody else?
Yes.
To me. Yeah, it does sound cool.
I think a lot of it hinges on the art style they use. That's my biggest beef with the DC animated movies, is when they adapt specific comics but do not do a good job at adapting the art style of those comics.
That makes sense.
A big one's The Killing Joke. Remember that we watched that YouTube video where someone had just redone the colors for that scene in The Killing Joke to match the original comic?
Yeah,
and it's so much better.
Way nicer.
Yeah, have you seen that, or have you seen The Killing Joke animated movie at all, Spencer?
I think I've seen bits and pieces.
Oh, you should watch it. I mean, it's really good.
Well, because there was that whole controversy that happened.
Yeah, that's kind of a dumb controversy in my opinion.
I thought so.
But what I hated about it was, if you've ever seen the original like comic, it's extremely vibrant. Like it's like gaudily vibrant, like saturation kicked up to 11 on the colors. It's super colorful, and because of the real fucking fucked up things that are happening, it makes it like a fucking sort of neon nightmare. And for the animated movie, everything's way toned down. It's like, you know, looking through a fucking coffee filter like everything is nowadays.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's really, really disappointing because they do a good job of recreating the like character designs, like the line work and stuff like that, but just that change in color totally changes the movie. And I feel like they do that a lot with the DC animated things. They do a good job on it with The Dark Knight Returns. I know you've seen that. And that, I mean, that's a really good adaptation of Frank Miller's artwork for that comic.
Yeah.
This Gotham by Gaslight it's Mike Mignola who did the Hellboy comics, and his art style is very, very, very like expressive, and it's very specific. It's very, I mean, if you see something done by him, you don't have to see his signature to know that he was the one that did it, right? And there's very few artists in comics who have that noticeable and that different of a style.
Yeah.
So that's my only concern with it. I think it could be fucking badass as long as they are able to replicate Mike Mignola's artwork. Now, thankfully, he always uses a very subdued color palette and stuff like that, so maybe it's not much of a stretch for him if they can.
What if they just make it super colorful? Just to spite
they
us?
have just no idea what they're doing.
Oh my god.
Well, the other thing I'm worried is that they'll do their go-to Bruce Timm art style, which I usually like, but I wouldn't want it in this case.
Yeah, I saw a few panels before we started recording, and it's very different from any animated thing from
that
DC
they've done
I've
it all
seen.
so far. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, way worlds away.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think it's really going to rest on that. Like, I mean, it might be the best movie ever as far as the animated movies goes, but if the art style just is not the same, I really won't want to have any interest in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole point of specifically adapting a comic, not telling like your own original story. If you're going to adapt it, then fucking adapt it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're doing animated. There's no reason to have it be so different.
Exactly.
Right.
And we have some news from the Bumblebee spin-off film, which I know everybody's super excited for, simply because, I mean, we just can't get enough Transformers. I mean, why don't they make more Transformers movies,
I
guys?
feel like there hasn't
Good
been
God.
one in
Like
days,
years.
3 weeks.
I know, right? What the hell,
Jesus
dude?
Fucking Christ.
And like every one of them is so good. Just make more of them, you know?
Stop.
But
I love how
Stop
they're
making
immediately
them,
trying
please.
to talk. Like, I've seen a lot of information come out about this Bumblebee spinoff, more so than I
Yeah.
thought I would. And I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that profits over the first 3 weekends for, not even profits, just revenue over the first 3 weekends for Transformers: The Last Night dropped 124%.
Oof.
yeah, it's been doing so bad.
Oof. Good.
Uh,
Maybe they'll stop. Just stop.
Well, no, here's the thing. And I think this is why they're talking up Bumblebee, is this is going to be the first one that is not fucking done by, oh, god damn it, why can't I
it
think
Michael
of-
Bay?
Yes, it is Michael Bay.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name for a second.
I
Yeah,
got
it's
you.
the first one not done by Michael Bay. So, like, I'm not even like, stop making these movies already. I'm like, look, I love this franchise. None of your movies have been good. Let someone else try it just once. See if anyone else can make a good movie out of giant robots that turn into cars. Because it can't be that hard, you know? There's like, I don't know about
I
you,
don't
Spencer,
know.
but I have an intrinsic interest in the concept of giant robots that can transform into cars.
Yeah, it's one of the simplest.
Yeah, it's not fucking hard.
No.
Like, fucking cars going fast, cool, I like it. And then it turns into a giant robot with like an energy sword and fights another giant robot car.
The bad giant
Yeah.
robot cars.
Hell yeah, bring it on, let me see it. And then you manage to like just fuck it all up.
And then you add Nazis and King Arthur. And what the fuck is your problem?
And then when we finally get to see the giant robots fighting, you keep jerking the fucking camera around and cutting it so fast that we don't even get to see what we wanted to see.
Well, these giant robots are fighting, but we gotta have the camera on the 2 humans who are running from the giant robots who are fighting. So we can see the giant robot fight just in the background of the humans running.
Yeah, dude, it's like anybody who even has a passive interest in Transformers. I mean, you can name me the famous human characters from the Gen 1 animated Transformers series, right, Spencer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because there weren't any. That was the point, exactly, because they already have fucking characters. But what the producer has said is that this is going to have dramatically less robots. Not going to be just throwing robots at you, making new ones up nonstop. He said,
Slightly racist new ones.
yeah, right, that's the other thing. Fuck Michael Bay, all the racist stereotype robots, Jesus Christ.
Oh, when I saw Jazz, I was like, that's a little strange. And then by the time the fucking... I don't even remember their names. But
No, because they're dumb made up ones.
Yeah,
Who cares?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Who fucking cares?
But he also said this one's going to be character driven,
Oh, okay.
which is a good, that's positive. He's also said that it's going to be back to the G1 heritage, which is the original, the real Transformers, the ones we like. And best of all, he said that out of all the movies he's worked on as a producer, this project reminds him the most of the Iron Giant. Now, I know everybody here is a fan of the Iron
Yeah,
Giant.
of course.
How much do you like the Iron Giant, Christina?
Very much.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What if the Iron Giant could transform into a car? Would you still love him?
I guess. Yeah.
So somehow less?
Yeah, I was going to say, what was that sigh? How could you possibly love him any less?
I don't think
Yeah, I've
Christina
been
likes
ruined.
Transformers.
I do like Transformers. I don't anymore. I did.
Fair.
Did you like for as a kid or something? Did you
Yeah,
think they were
dude.
cool?
They were cool. Now it's like, oh my fucking god, I don't care.
I loved Transformers since I was breaking my older cousin's Transformers toys every Christmas.
Did you break him trying to make him transform and you couldn't do it?
Yeah, well, they
Yeah,
had
dude, I
some
did that all the
and-
time.
and they had some GoBots that were like of inferior quality. So, yeah, a few of them got broken, and I like overwrote their save data. I didn't know what I was doing. I fucked up a lot of my family shit.
Is that how you ruined Christmas the first time?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Why would you want save data on that game anyway? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of that.
It's a Super Nintendo game that was part of the process of Square Soft and like some of the teams that they had under their umbrella were making RPGs that weren't good, so they slapped Final Fantasy onto the beginning of the name of the game to try to get it to sell more copies.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
That sucks.
The saga of Final Fantasy Legend for Game Boy. Ooh, boy. Sorry. Later. We'll talk about that later.
But Bumblebee, I'm excited for it just because it's a different director. I mean, it's the dude who did Coraline. Everybody liked that movie. I wasn't really a big fan of it. He also did Kobo and the Two Strings, which I've heard is really fucking good, and we should watch that.
Okay.
I want to argue with you about Coraline, but we're short on time.
No, what do you? There's no.
Coraline's great. Period.
What the fuck is your actual problem with Coraline?
He just has an actual problem with everything.
That's not true. It just kind of weirded me out and is kind of boring. Really, more than anything, I think it's a little boring.
Have you watched that movie?
Yes, I've watched Coraline.
I would argue
you.
that the point of the film partly was to weird you out. But,
Yeah.
but the boring thing, I'll give you.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, it just at no point I was like, "Oh, this is interesting," but it's like a background movie. Like anytime it has been on, it was not able
Loses
to make
your attention.
Yeah. Not that it's bad.
Okay.
It's well respected, so whatever.
All right, agree.
But-
disagree.
This guy can do Bumblebee. I think it hinges on when we first see what Bumblebee is going to look like.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, if we get to see what looks like a G1 Transformer and not like a Michael Bay fucking just spiraling mass of chrome Transformer,
Yeah.
then I'll be 100% all in. I mean, what about you, Christine? If it's like a big blocky looking, bright yellow,
I don't know. I don't know that I care anymore.
nah, fair. Now, Venom, the Venom movie, Sony's Spider-Man-less Spider-Verse film. Casting call's gone out for the character of Anne Weying, who is Eddie Brock's ex-wife, basically the lady who left him prior to him kind of pushed him to the point to where he wants to kill Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and then gets the suit that also wants to do that. Super important to his backstory, and is a reoccurring character in his life as his ex-wife. In some versions of it, they have a child together. She also, at some points, the Venom suit leaves Eddie Brock, attaches to her, and becomes the villain She-Venom. How stupid of a name is She-Venom? Do you hate when they just put she in front of something?
Yes, it's so stupid. Fuck off.
What about She-Hulk?
That's still stupid.
But a bunch of websites have been like, She-Venom confirmed. What are the chances that this movie has the Venom suit get on Anne and become She-Venom?
Zero. It's a zero. It's an origin story. It's not going to be successful to begin with.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no way they just jump straight into that.
They're
No,
throwing
and-
Venom suits at the wall and see
Although I
what
guess there's an
sticks.
argument to be made that because as recently as a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, Amy Pascal didn't seem to be on the same page as Marvel with, what the place of all these other Spider-Verse movies were in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm guessing that they're just kind of rudderless at the moment. So who knows where they'll go. But no, if anyone is smart, they won't attempt to give us Venom and She-Venom origin stories in the same shitty movie.
And also Carnage, who is the confirmed villain.
Right.
Like, I hate when websites do that, like, when something obviously makes sense and they want to, like, hype it up even more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's all, I mean, it's like clickbait, what have you.
Sure.
But just to have the headline of She-Venom confirmed, then it's like, no, Eddie Brock's ex-wife confirmed. She's going to be in the movie as his fucking wife who leaves him as part of his origin story. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe a movie down the line, She-Venom's in it. Sure. Okay, we'll see. If, a second one even gets greenlit.
But what if? What if?
Now, some really cool stuff that came out about Spider-Man Homecoming on Reddit. A Reddit user uncovered a little Easter egg, one that I think is super interesting. In the scene where Peter Parker and Aunt May have dinner at the Thai restaurant. Yeah, when they have larb. There's an outside shot of the Thai restaurant. There's a building next to them that has a sign in Korean that reads, "The Korean Church of Asgard," which implies that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people are currently worshiping the Asgardian gods.
I would too.
It makes total sense. I believe there's a line of dialogue that even references, it might have been Nick Fury, where, they're basically confirming to Earth the existence of gods.
Yeah.
And the existence of Thor, which is his
Thor
backstory
and Loki.
is the Greek god Thor.
Right.
Or, excuse me, Norse god.
Right. Yeah, but no.
Part we were talking about Wonder Woman. So it makes complete and total sense. why people there here is proof.
Yeah.
And I love that even though it's just an Easter egg and we don't know if they're going to expand on it, Ragnarok's coming out.
Right.
So they might expand upon it there. But just the fact that it got stuck in there as an Easter egg really feels good to me because they're taking all of the aspects of this universe and logically applying the events to shape our world.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, something like that is hard to. I mean, just imagine if, like, in our real world, with all the religions we have and everything, and like all the ones that are currently worshipped and all the ones that we know about, if like fucking suddenly like the actual god Bast of the Egyptian group of gods just appeared on Earth one day. Like, that would be such a mind fuck. I can't even hardly wrap my head around it to be like, holy shit, really?
That one?
Bast? That's the one that was right. The Egyptians? Okay, well.
And not even
Well, all right, here we go.
Because where's Ra?
There's my
where's
proof.
Anubis?
Yeah.
But Bast, somebody got that right. Okay, well, I guess I worship Bast.
Yeah. Presumably the rest of the Egyptian gods are maybe real too. I don't know.
Who knows? We
Yeah.
should ask him because we can.
That's
Yeah.
pretty fucking crazy implications for sure. And yeah, I do hope they expand on it in Ragnarok or Infinity War or something like that. I don't know how they would. Maybe even that's like something they can have for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, that seems like that would be a good episode that would make me tune in if I managed to see a preview for like a fucking Asgard cult. You know what I mean?
Fanatics.
Yeah, like trying to bring about Ragnarok or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even watch that, and I
And-
fucking hate Agents of
Yeah.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think there's a lot of cool things that they could do with it for
yeah.
sure. And also whether or not they touch on in the other movies, because it's a cool thing in the comics that like the Asgardians, you know, they it's not like Thor just happens to resemble the Norse god Thor. Like, he is the Norse god Thor because at the height of, you know, the Norse people or what have you, like when they were active on Earth and worshiping these gods, Thor was on Earth.
Yeah.
And he was there, and he was like buddy with them. There's a really, really cool comic series just called Thor that came out, I think, in 2014 or 2015, where he goes up against the God Killer. And it's this villain that's going around the universe killing anything that's worshipped as a god.
Okay.
And so it leads itself to Earth, where Thor is. And he doesn't have Molinar. It's like during the time period where he was cast down to Earth, and he was there for like 100 years living amongst men.
Yeah.
Trying to become worthy, but instead he was just getting drunk and like burning villages with his Viking bros.
Sure.
And like,
as,
so he,
as one is one.
yeah, he's like a real young, real brash Thor. I would love to see that story told in the Marvel Cinematic Universe somehow. It has one of my favorite moments in comic history where he's up in the air tussling with the God Killer, and the God Killer is like talking about how he's gonna fucking kill him and take his powers and stuff, but he's like, now tell me, young god, what exactly are you the god of? And Thor, like, they're flying, and Thor leads him way up into the sky, and the sky's getting darker during their fight, and he just gets the biggest fucking smile on his face and like whispers thunder. And then this big fucking lightning bolt just fucking demolishes the God Killer. And it like turns the fight, and he just beats the dog shit out of him. It's fucking badass. So I don't know. Made me think of that.
No, yeah, definitely.
Now, Jessica Jones, season 2, supposedly the main villain is going to be Typhoid Mary. Now, Christina, tell me all about Typhoid Mary.
Dude, well, Typhoid Mary is a real fucking person who had typhoid fever and wouldn't get the cure, wouldn't undergo surgery.
She didn't have any. She was the first asymptomatic carrier, right? That was the whole thing.
She ended up like infecting a whole bunch of people
Because she was fine.
Yeah.
She didn't have any symptoms, had no problem.
She was like a cook.
Right. So
made
she was
food.
infecting everybody.
Yeah. And they were like, well, you can undergo this surgery or you can be in jail forever. And she was like, okay, yeah, I'll do the surgery, but didn't.
Okay.
And ended up going back to cook, and she ended up being put in jail for the rest of her life.
It's a pretty crazy story.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Now, this is, of course,
yeah, I know.
has nothing to do with the real Typhoid
bullshit.
Mary.
Stupid.
But the real Typhoid Mary is super interesting, I feel
Right.
like.
Yeah.
And it was also, we didn't know until Typhoid Mary, we didn't know that people could have diseases and not have symptoms,
Yeah.
right? She was like
Yeah.
the first proof of that because it took them forever to figure out
Yeah. No. Yeah.
that she was a carrier
right.
of
Yeah.
typhoid fever. Yeah. But now Marvel Comics Typhoid Mary is a lady who has like split personalities and pyrokinesis. So she can make things light on fire with her mind.
Okay.
Like Firestarter, you know? Like, I am your Firestarter, your wicked Firestarter.
Oh my god.
Love a good,
Good
prodigy
God.
reference anytime.
Big beats are the best, dude. Get high all the time. She's a kind of cool villain, though. She's real fucking crazy. She's mostly famous
She'd be
for
cooler
going
if
up
she had
against...
a different fucking name.
I guess. She's mostly famous for going up against Daredevil. She dated Daredevil at one point. Like, her good personality was in love with Matt Murdock, and then also someone was going around, like, killing people and burning shit, and Matt Murdock was trying to figure out who it was, and it ended up being this villain called Typhoid Mary, and then he's shocked to find out they are one and the same. You know, because you can only do that with someone with split personalities. Very tropey. My only fear is, for whatever reason, I feel like she's going to be really similar to Dexter's girlfriend in season 2 of Dexter. Is it season 2 of Dexter when he dates the girl that's like an arsonist?
I
know you
I
forget
don't-
about all the bad seasons.
Yeah, I do.
But I think it is as early as season 2.
Okay.
Because he's like cheating on Rita with that arsonist fucking obnoxious lady. He's like, yeah, Dexter, kill everybody. I like killing people too. Let's burn everybody alive. And then he's like, no, and kills her. You don't remember that at all?
I remember that. Yes, I do.
And she
But
is like
I
an
was
artist,
trying
I
to
think. She
figure
has
out-
like an art studio that gets lit on fire at one point. Yeah, it's fucking... I don't know why. I just feel like it could be very, 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 very similar to that and come off as obnoxious. I don't know if that's a power set that... I don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense for Jessica Jones.
No, that's what I was curious. I thought they were setting it up for, especially since he painted his face near the end there. What is his name?
Oh, Nuke?
Yeah, Nuke.
Yeah.
I thought they were setting it up for Nuke to be the natural villain in the next season.
He may have a role in it, for sure.
Oh, I'm sure that he does. But I don't know. Part of I still remain as I have since the moment I finished watching it, that it's just they're not gonna be able to catch lightning in a bottle twice.
Yeah.
That
It is...
Jessica Jones was so good because of almost everyone's performances, but David Tennant's portrayal of the Purple Man, of Kilgrave.
Yeah, and even just the use of that villain and like the
Yes.
things that he's done and their backstory, it's what makes it all compelling. And you're right, any other villain...
And touching on trauma and PTSD and
Yeah.
you know, rape symbolism and straight up rape.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. To just anything else can come off as much more generic.
Yeah.
It's like Jessica Jones saving the day against just a regular old supervillain, you know?
Yeah. But I don't claim to know what those writers have up their sleeves, so I'll hold my judgment. It doesn't sound great to me.
Yeah, I think my biggest concern is that we get something that's similar to all the other Netflix series where we have 2 or 3 different villains, and she's in like, you know, the plot changes halfway through the season because they always do that. And it always
Yeah.
seems like each season can be split into 2,
Yeah.
with very different storylines. And I think that's what made Jessica Jones better than the others, is that it managed to maintain interest throughout every single episode and always stayed focused on one thing, while never having anything that seemed like filler and never having anything that seemed like a big shift.
Yeah, and never having anything that completely derailed the pacing. I thought
Yeah.
the pacing of Jessica Jones was perfect.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe Typhoid Mary will be cool. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it'll be based on the actual Typhoid Mary.
It's not gonna be.
Do you think that would be interesting, though?
Yeah, I would totally
Because
think that.
since she's like an investigator, she's trying to figure out, damn, why are all these
Yeah.
people getting typhoid fever?
Yeah.
It's this cook. I'm going to use my super strength to beat the fuck out of her. Get the surgery or I'll beat you within an inch of your life. I'm not getting the surgery. And then
Yeah.
chick fight.
Oh my god.
Super
Why did you have to put it that way?
super
Why?
super unfair chick fight too, because one of them is a superhero and the other is a lady with a disease.
Yeah, at that point, who's the hero?
As far as other Netflix series based on comic books goes, Netflix has announced that they are working with Gerard motherfucking Way, former frontman of My Chemical Romance, on adapting his comic series, The Umbrella Academy, to the live-action Netflix digital screen. Is that not a silver screen? What do you call that? What's a good term for that?
The
Retina
streaming display.
Screen.
The retina display.
Anyways, fucking Gerard Way is getting a live action series on Netflix, guys.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. How did they
cool with
land
that.
on that? How did they land on the Umbrella Academy?
I know we're not a music website, but that's because if we were, we would just talk about how much we all love My Chemical Romance every week, and
That's
people
true.
would get tired of it.
Yeah, when I was
A young boy.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. But the Umbrella Academy is really cool. It's like a washed up, dysfunctional, adopted family of superheroes that come together after their father, who brought them all together, dies. And they're like grown-ups now, and they were all kids when they were all adopted, and they all have weird fucking powers. And as you can imagine, it's Gerard Way, so it's like very dark and very just weird.
Isn't one of them
Yeah.
just like a gorilla?
Well, one of them is the head of a boy that was attached to the body of a gorilla.
Okay, yeah.
And also is an astronaut and goes into space. Yes.
Okay.
It's fucking
I mean,
cool.
I'm down
Speaking
with
of
that.
typhoid, this was born of a fever dream.
The very first issue of the comic has them on their first mission together as children, in which they battle the Eiffel Tower. Which
What?
what's his name? The guy who designed it, Gustav Eiffel, is the guy. I'm pretty sure that Eiffel isn't his name.
Yes.
Is the guy who designed the Eiffel Tower, and like they get called to Paris because something's happening, like a catastrophic event, and they get there, and the Eiffel Tower is walking around on its four legs with the tip of the tower shooting laser beams out at the city. And immediately the leader of the Umbrella Academy, who can fly and has like super strength, punches through the center of the Eiffel Tower and like rips open a hole in it. And in there is Gustav Eiffel's head on like a coal and steam powered robot body, like operating all these cranks and levers. And the boy goes, just as I suspected, Gustav Eiffel controlling the Eiffel Tower. I knew it the whole time. And so,
what the fuck?
like, it does things like that, just huge leaps in believability that you just accept in order to move the plot along. It's really good, is what I'll say.
Okay.
It is absolutely worth reading. Gerard Way is a really good writer.
I believe that.
He's also writing currently some current work, Mother Panic, which is a DC character that they let him make up that's a part of the Bat family now, and is also totally worth checking out. So even if you're not a fan of early 2000s goth emo pop punk,
Which, if you aren't, shame on you.
Didn't Marvel give him one of the Spider Apocalypse?
oh yeah, he did.
It was a girl who.
SP//DR.
Yeah, he was like a.
Oh
it was
yeah, I
a girl in a
remember
spider
you
mech.
talking about
Yeah,
that.
it's a girl. It's a mech that requires two brains to control it, and one of those brains is a radioactive psychic spider. And then a girl gets in the mech suit, and in order for them to work together, every time she gets in the mech suit, the spider, she has to let it bite her.
Okay.
And that makes them have the psychic connection. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I mean, he comes up with just the fucking weirdest ideas, like, let this guy go, let him do his weird shit.
Yeah.
Because anytime you try to hear it explained, you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then you read it and you're like, that's the coolest
works.
that's the coolest fucking thing I've ever read. I don't know how it'll do Umbrella Academy being adapted to live action. I mean, that's gonna be, are they gonna have the Eiffel fucking Tower CG come to life? Like, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what kind of a budget it's gonna get, but I mean, Netflix seems to always give them the budget that they need to
Yeah.
pull off things.
And
So-
more importantly, I don't know of any scenario where Netflix has stepped in and been like, no, okay, you can't do this. Even when the Adam Sandler fucking Native American parody movie came out, Netflix, and, you know, I personally would have probably intervened, but it was like all of these incredibly insensitive jokes, and Netflix was like, well, the creators have the power here. So,
Yeah.
so it might work in our favor at that point.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some more about it for sure. In gaming news, we have a couple of cool releases this week. Mega Man Maker comes out today, actually. We are recording this on Saturday the 15th, so if you're listening to the podcast, it is already out and may already be taken down by Capcom. Who knows? We'll see how long it lasts, but it's a...
But not as quick as Nintendo.
Yeah, that's true. It's a Mega Man Maker's a fan game similar to Super Mario Maker, but based on the original NES Mega Man games. There's a really cool trailer for it. We'll link it in the description here so you can actually check that out and look into it. I fucking love Mega Man. I'm super pumped about it. Like, I'm going to be downloading it and playing it tonight as soon as we're done recording this podcast. What do you think about being able to make your own Mega Man levels, specifically knowing...
I think Mario Maker should be a genre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
For like just all the like you want like a Castlevania.
I want a
Maker.
Castlevania one. I want a Metroid one. I want the Mega Man one.
Ooh, Metroid Maker. That has
Yeah.
a nice ring to it.
Metroid Maker. Yeah,
And
the
that would be
alliteration's
fucking-
back.
Awesome. Needing to make like those real big elaborate maps.
Castlevania Crafter. I'm
Oh, yeah,
I'm spitballing here.
No, I like that one.
I'm the idea man.
got
I
a
can't.
I'm interested to see the guy requested a little bit of funding just to host a server. He's already got it.
Yeah.
Um
Well, I'm sure.
and the server is because like Mario Maker, it has a system where you can download levels made like within the game, search for and download levels made by other people. How fucking hard are some of these levels going to be? Like, think about how easy Mario is and how brutally difficult some of the Mario Maker levels are.
Mm-hmm.
And think about how brutally hard by default Mega Man is and how much more insanely fucking difficult some of these fan-made
I
levels are
can't
gonna
even
be.
imagine, dude, because Mega Man players are hardcore.
Mhm.
Like, it blows my mind to see some of the speedrunners do the things that they're capable of doing, especially with those old NES Mega Man games. Like, and the way that everyone who seems to get really into Mario Maker is just so sadistic. The Mega Man community is far, far more sadistic when it comes to just craving that level of punishment from the games that they play. So,
You want to try some?
No.
All right, then. Also released this week, news that only maybe like 100 people in the world will care about. Gorn for Steam VR is out.
Yay!
I have a Vive, so I play some Steam VR games. My favorite one by far that I've ever played is a demo that was released almost a year ago called Gorn, and that game finally has an official release. Fucking Spencer, tell him about Gorn.
okay, so Gorn is this absurd gladiator combat we'll call it a simulator and use that term loosely. The art style is very, very strange, very, I guess I'll say, bubbly. Everything looks almost as if it's filled with air as opposed to
Yeah.
having weights.
that's-
The weapons that you use are at times flimsy.
Yeah, it's like intentionally rubbery physics.
Yeah, but it's clearly just kind of making fun of itself, but it is so much fun. It is the greatest fun I've had in VR. The ability to beat someone up with another person if you happen to be able to grab them the right way. The challenges of having to use both of your hands to use a spear to defeat enemies. Like, it's so cute when you get into it, and it's like, oh, this is a weird, kooky little combat sim. Let's give it a shot.
And then
it is hard as fuck.
And then you rip somebody's fucking head off with your bare hands and
Yes.
throw it at another enemy.
yeah, and oh man, it's great. It's such fun. I legitimately broke a sweat first time I played it.
I almost broke my wrist.
Yep. The dev said that his inspiration for it was watching people play some of the very early Steam VR games. He noticed that everybody, for whatever reason, just like like you do in like Skyrim and Oblivion, played with dead ragdolls, like when an enemy is killed and there's a ragdoll and you can ragdoll and you can still manipulate it.
Yeah.
Like that was way more fun in VR, and that people would instinctively try to like pick them up and pull body parts apart and realize that no, that you couldn't do that. Why? What kind of a sick fucking person would ever think to make a game that would allow you to do that? But everybody wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's really interesting because I've seen both of you guys and I've seen Zach play Gorn. And literally the first thing all of you did was after killing your first guy, before ending the match, you just fucking chopped him up into bits. And you like just ripped limbs apart and we're like throwing them all around the Coliseum. Like, you do super fucking fucked up shit.
Absolutely just disgraceful and disgusting.
And you don't even think about it. It's like,
no, it's the best.
It's like you think when you have the headset strapped on that like, I can't see what you're doing, but I can.
And what you're doing is being
wrong.
a serial murderer.
Yeah. So yeah, he saw people doing that, and that he was like, I'm just gonna make a game that is about that. And it has been wildly successful. It's already sold a bunch of copies. The trailer for it's really good. Like she said, she almost broke her wrist. It is far and away, per Reddit at least, responsible for more real life damages and injuries than any other VR game.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You just get so immersed in it more so than anything else that you totally ignore the boundaries that pop up. Like people, when the demo
I didn't
was
even
first out,
ignore the goddamn boundaries.
Yeah.
They just didn't pop up.
that is not true. You didn't see them.
No.
He was sitting right there.
Yeah.
You turned them off, remember?
Maybe I did when she played. Yeah, because I do sometimes play with them turned off.
Was that when you
because I know
punched
where
the
they are.
television?
Yeah, she punched the
I
television.
came down on it with my wrist.
Yeah. But that's a super popular thing on Reddit. People would post like, oh, well, this is what I broke from Gorn today. And someone else would post pictures of like TVs being broken, fucking bloody ass broken fingers and
Holes in the drywall.
Yep. Like overhead, like fans and lights being shattered, like their controllers being broken. It became a thing to the point that the trailer for the game has a girl putting on her headset and playing Gorn, and it like will cut from a footage in game of her like slashing a sword to decapitate a guy.
Yeah.
To like her in her apartment as she's like smashing along a shelf full of breakable items that she's just bashing the fuck out of. Like she destroys her whole room while she's playing Gorn.
They're just having the time of her life.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's really fucking cool. So,
Accurate.
I mean, if you're listening to this and you have the ability to do so and you haven't played Steam VR's Gorn, if there's like maybe one person who falls into that Venn diagram, check it out. Otherwise, look up gameplay of it on YouTube. Like, it's really fun to even watch. Now, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the open beta for that is October 6th through the 9th.
So excited.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to fucking play it. They're going to have the Galactic Assault on Theed, the palace of Naboo, which we saw at E3. They also are going to have a game type called Starfighter Assault, which they haven't really confirmed what that is, but they did say it's set during the original trilogy. How pumped are you to find out what Starfighter Assault is?
Very.
Whatever it is, it's gonna be great. Like whatever game mode it happens to be, the word Starfighter is in it. It's gonna be our original. Not that I'm a purist or anything, but I do like the Starfighters from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm all in. Already from the footage they showed us at E3, I am a million times more excited for Battlefront 2 than I was Battlefront.
Yeah, I am. There's very little of me left that's still hesitant about it.
Yeah.
As bad as the first one was, but I cannot fucking wait to finally get my hands on it and give it a shot for myself. Also, the hero list leaked. Nothing real surprising. Like Captain Phasma's in it. Maybe that's a little surprising, but who fucking cares?
Right now, at least.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure Captain Phasma's going to have a larger role in episode 8.
Yeah, I think so as well. But the one character that was announced that I never thought I would want to play as, but as soon as I read it, I was like, fuck yeah, is General Grievous, who is a fucking joke in the movies. Absolutely. Not a good character in any way, shape, or form. But like,
I'm pumped as fuck.
Yeah, right? It's like, yeah, let me control that guy with his 4 spinning fucking lightsaber arms. Hell goddamn yes. You think he's gonna get his stupid fucking wheel thing?
If he doesn't,
Like
It's gonna be
dude,
0 out of 10.
I hope there's a level based on that. What is it, Utapu, where they're at, and we can reenact the riveting chase sequence of General Grievous on a big giant wheel and Obi-Wan Kenobi riding a lizard bird thing that goes nonstop as it's running around.
It's on a 90-degree angle on a lizard climbing out of a hole.
Oh my god.
Yeah, can't fucking wait for that shit.
Why'd you have to remind me? Okay.
And then last little bit of news, D23, the 23rd Disney Expo, is happening right now, and it's happening today. We have a little bit of news about it from this morning. We'll probably have a lot more to talk about on next week's podcast as well. They've shown off a life-size, or not life-size, that would be stupid, a scale model. A scale model.
Jesus Christ.
We built a life-size model of the park. So you guys built the entire park.
Well, no, you can't
Well,
use
no,
it.
no.
Well, yeah,
it's a model.
It's a model. It doesn't work. Well, then why didn't you guys just build the park? Oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
we spent a lot of money on this.
Man, how many people did this go through?
But yeah, no, they built a scale model of the Star Wars park. Have you seen the pictures
Oh
of it?
my god.
I haven't.
It looks
Oh, it is fucking amazing.
so
You
good.
saw like the artwork they released,
Yes,
right? It is
yes.
significantly larger than even the
Really?
artwork was.
Yeah.
And everything from the
The
artwork's
artwork
in
was
it.
generous, too.
it's oh my god.
It is
Looks so
massive.
good.
It is without a doubt their biggest undertaking far and away. I am so fucking pumped to go to Star Wars World, guys.
I
Yeah.
wanted this since I was a baby, basically.
After everything that they've said about it, how they plan to gamify the entire park, like nobody breaks character, that you are there in Star Wars on a Star Wars planet, and everybody interacts with you as if you are a human in Star Wars. Everybody's going to be in makeup and animatronics, like holy
Trading
fucking
scrap
shit.
with Jawas.
Yes, dude.
Dude, I'm gonna spend ludicrous amounts of money there.
I want it to be
Ludicrous.
so obnoxious,
you
even though it's a way to nickel and dime you, that you have to that they don't accept dollars, that like you have to get fucking exchange your dollars
Oh
for
my
credits
God, I
when
would
you go into the
too.
park,
I would.
Yep.
right?
I'd do it.
And you know they're gonna pull some bullshit exchange rate where it's like you can buy for like $7.99. You can get like like 13 credits, but everything's gonna cost like an equal number of credits. You know what I mean? Like they do with like mobile games, basically.
Yeah, the Nintendo eShop.
Yeah, like
Oh my God.
you're always gonna be left with a few extra credits that you cannot transfer back into dollars. Basically, is what I'm
Nor
saying.
can you use by themselves.
But I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah.
You think we'll be able to just sit in the cantina and waste away playing PASIC?
Oh, that'd be so cool, dude! I hope they have like fake, like when they go into the bar or like the nightclub in Attack of the Clones, and there's
Yeah.
all the sports on the monitors.
Yeah.
Like fake sports that you can fucking bet on and shit. Like hell yes, dude! Some swoop races, some fucking. There's like a weird robot soccer thing.
Yeah.
That they're watching. I want all of it, man, and I want it now.
It's gonna be the best.
Yeah, and I will spend thousands of dollars
Yeah.
on it. Yes, I definitely can't wait. We also saw, well, we haven't seen, they haven't released it, but people at the expo have seen the first trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. Did you read like the description for the trailer?
Yeah. It's like meta.
Meta as fuck. It reminds me of when Reboot got to the second season. Do you remember that?
Shit hit the wall.
Did you ever watch the show Reboot, Christina?
No.
It was like CG, it was on Toonami.
No. I
Oh,
just
man.
said no.
It was a really cool show. But yeah.
Hard to explain, actually.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna get into it, but like, it's like people inside of a computer, like Wreck-It Ralph. But yeah, they're gonna go on the internet. I guess the plot is that Ralph wants to go viral, and from the description that they've said so far, all of the Disney princesses, like all of them, are in it, and they're all voiced by everyone who's still alive that voiced a Disney princess.
Still have them under contract.
Yeah, I guess that they're being escorted by stormtroopers through like a Disney park that's on the internet. Apparently Stan Lee has a cameo in it where a kid goes through like a Marvel Fi Me app and goes in one end and pops out the other end as being turned into Stan Lee, and he shouts Excelsior. Iron Man's flying around in it. Like, it sounds fucking awesome. All the cool video game references that were in the first Wreck-It Ralph. I can't fucking wait for internet memes and everything Disney and Marvel and Star Wars. Like,
this is my emoji movie.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Absolutely it is. Fuck the actual emoji movie. So yeah, I'm super pumped for that. It comes out November 21st of this year.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's come out fairly soon.
Nice.
Yeah, we won't have to wait very long at all. We'll probably get, after the expo, probably sometime next week, the actual trailer released online, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would say probably
They also showed the first footage for Incredibles 2, which picks up apparently right where the first movie ends.
Okay.
The footage they showed was Jack, the baby, that saves him with his powers in the end, but they don't know he has powers.
Yeah.
They still don't know he has powers. And Mr. Incredible's at home watching baby Jack, who sees a raccoon sneaking into the trash and teleports through the window and then fights with the raccoon using telekinetic powers, and then turns into the Human Torch, lights himself on fire like the Human Torch, and continues to fight with the raccoon, basically showing that he has like every power in the world. And Mr. Incredible's like, holy shit, you have powers. And then the clip ends there. So, yeah, sounds adorable. I fucking love Incredibles.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that it picks up right where the other one left off. I had assumed, I guess, that it would be like
older.
Later.
Yeah, like the kids
like
are
the girls
adults
in
now.
college and
Yeah, something like that, exactly. But no, it looks like we just get right back to it with everybody's favorite fake CGI superhero family.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's going to be some callbacks to the original. Like, I absolutely expect why can't I think of it? Yeah,
Frozone.
Frozone, that's it. I was thinking of Frodome, and I was like, that is not it. That is not it at all.
Frodome.
Frodo Baggins, dude. I don't know.
Frodome Baggins.
But yeah, Incredibles 2. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to more news from Disney. And that is pretty much it for our lengthy news segment this week, guys.
Lots of
Anything
news
else
this
that anyone had?
No. I think you touched all of it and more.
And then some. So looks like we'll get into some books.
Books.
Books. All right, everybody, that does it for part 1 of this week's podcast. Be sure to check us out in another couple of days. We'll be uploading part 2, where we'll get into the discussion on why our top 5 books are our top 5 books. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. As always, we're close to 200 subscribers, so let's share this one around if anyone thinks that they know someone else that'll enjoy it. And catch you in another couple of days.